people, three things that didn't behave in the teva, and therefore, and now, another interesting thing. Why did he send the Erev? Because the Erev had relations with his spouse, and she was already incubating eggs. So there was a future already for the raven, because the mother was pregnant already, whatever you call it, by a bird. She was pregnant with the raven. The survival was definite.
Well, why they were not allowed to have relations with the raven?
Why? Why they were not allowed to have relations? When the world is suffering, people can't have relations. You know, a few parshas ago, when Yosef was made the king, then it says Yosef had 2 children before the hunger happened. Why does it have to say before the hunger happened? So the Gemara says, that during the hunger years, you're not allowed to have relations. Why? Because the world is suffering, you don't have relations. So that's, in fact, you learned it out from Yosef. So some people say, in fact, when the raven came back, look what it says. It doesn't say Noach stuck out his hand to take back the raven. By the dove, when he sent the Yaina, right? Then he sent the Yaina. Okay? Then what happened? Halira said, Kalo Amayim, to see if the water subsided from the face of the earth. The Yaina, the dove, didn't find any peace to his feet. No, there's no place to be. But he came back to the table. What does it say? Noach stuck out his hand to bring the dove back into the ark. By the raven, the Torah doesn't say he took out his hand. He stuck out his hand to bring the raven back. Because Noach was angry at the raven for what he did in the Torah that he wasn't allowed to do.
But the raven came back.
He did come back. He didn't go anywhere. What?
No, but those ravens, I think they're still around, right? Aren't those the blackbirds that you see?
Yeah, ravens are still around.
But there's so many of them. Like, I don't remember there being so many.
When?
Now.
There are always a lot of ravens.
A lot of ravens.
No, so what's the problem?
I just want to know, is it a
crow?
Does it mean
Not a
something?
crow, but it's similar.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember so many ravens like there are now.
Okay. The Medrash says like this. That the raven, listen to this, the raven came to Noach and said, why are you sending me? It's not fair. Send the other birds. So Noach said to him, okay, so he said like this, you hate me because you only took 2 of me, okay, and maybe you desire my mate. So Noach said, even evil one, even my wife, who's usually permitted to me, has been permitted to me in the ark. How much more I think I'm going to be with your mate. I'm not going to be with my wife, I'm going to be with your mate. So Noach says like this, going out and refuting, meaning it was singled out from all the birds. He said to him like this. Noach said to the raven, the world doesn't need you. They can't eat you. You're not kosher. They can't bring you as a sacrifice. So who needs you? So it says, the Medrash goes on to show that the raven was needed. When Eliyahu Navi ran away, the pasuk says in Malachim that the raven brought Eliyahu Navi food every day. So he said, you see, Hashem said, the raven is needed. Otherwise, like the question, why did Hashem need him to be alive? Why did Hashem need the species of ravens in the world? Well, he can't eat them, he can't bring korban, so what needs them? What's the purpose? So that says, like remember David HaMelech with the spider saved his life. Everything Hashem made is needed.
Raven's the same bird that it says if you see far away in Israel.
No, that's the Ra.
Huh?
The Ra, it's called. That bird is called Ra.
They're not very nice looking, though.
What?
Ravens. No, they are.
What can I tell you?
No, they're very, like, ferocious. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They come very, like, they swoop down and they scare me in the morning when I go to work, basically.
Okay, but he said, the Mashal explains, interestingly, doves, the dove bird, is very devoted to its mate, and the ravens aren't. Okay, obviously he was successful because Noach was able to get information from them. Okay, now finally, Adjavesha Samayim Al-Oretz, he continually flew back and forth, and there was nothing. Okay, now he's after 7 days, by the way. Okay, because in another pasuk later, it says he waited 7 days and sent again the dove, which means he probably waited 7 days. The Mepharshim explained before he sent the dove for the first time. So first he sent the raven. When the raven finally came back, he waited 7 days. He sent the dove. The dove came back. There was nothing doing yet. He waited 7 days and again sent the dove. And then he didn't come back. Okay.
Then he came back with the branch or something.
That's later. We didn't get there. What?
Is there like an inner meaning to all this? Like, does the Rebbe speak about it or anything with the coming and the going and the back? And it seems like so many details related to it. It has to have like some you know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of things you can learn from these things. I mean, honest people don't accuse other people of doing things wrongly. Okay? Mm-hmm. The fact that the raven did accuse Noach of wanting to be with Mrs. Erev, right? The Torah is teaching us, but the dove didn't. The dove didn't have a problem because he knew that there was nothing going to be, right? Because they're loyal to one another. So the moral of the story is, if a person is a person who accuses everybody for wrongdoing, it shows that they are really wrongdoers because they don't trust anybody else. A trusting person, a person who is honorable trusts others. And you know what's interesting? When you trust others, they don't do what's wrong. You know, when parents trust their kids at a certain age, then the kids are not going to do something wrong. When they feel trusted. It's when they feel the parents don't trust them, that's when they'll do something wrong. I'll give you a simple example from California. Years ago, you know, you left a package down somewhere in an airport, in 2 seconds it was gone. You know, you put down a package, in a second it was gone. By Disneyland, everybody, you know, you go into a ride, everybody left the strollers there. Even with things in the stroller. And nothing was ever stolen. Why? Because everybody trusts. It's such an environment. It's such a peaceful environment, for whatever reason, yeah, that people it was a trusting environment. And in a trusting environment, you don't do wrong. And you see that from here also. The Erev suspected Noach, so therefore he didn't know what he had to do. He kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The dove, which was trusted, so he did his mission. You know, in fact, some of Fashim, when it says by the Erev, Vayetze Yotze Vashoiv, coming and going, the Mepharshim say it actually represents the dialogue between Noach and the raven. Remember, there was a whole dialogue. The raven says to Noach, why did you pick me? You hate me. You only took 2 of me, and you took... right? So there's a whole debate going on back and forth. Yeah? That's Yotze V'Shev, going and coming. I mean, asking, answering, going... I don't know. Okay, pasuk test. It didn't find a place to rest its feet. It returned to the teva. Because there's still water. The top of the mountains were clear, but there's still water much lower down. he sent it out. He sent out the sand. He took it back. V'yava Esau elav el tevi, he brought it back to the table. Okay, so here he brings down. Do you want to learn like a lesson from this Yaina stuff? Okay, the Medrash says like this: Rabbi Yehuda ben Reb Nachman said, had the Yaina, the dove, found a place to rest, it wouldn't have returned. The Jews, in many psukim, Yainasi, Tamasi, the Jews are likened to a dove. Shirashirim, many places, there's a lot of psukim that the Jews are likened to the dove. The Medrash perceives dove as an allegorical symbol of Israel. Okay? Similarly, she dwelt among the nations, but found no rest. But had she, Israel, found rest, she would have not have longed to return to God in Israel to the land. In other words, like this: the Jews are the Yaina. Hashem sends out the Jews into a tumultuous world, the world of Galus. Okay? But they always have the yearning to come back to the Teva, to come back to Hashem. If the Jews would get too comfortable in Galus, then they wouldn't have the yearning to go back to the Teva. In this respect, the Medrash says, just as the dove found no resting place, so the Yidden did not find a haven rest in exile, but the dove returned to the ark, so will Israel return to the exile to their land, and